Hello everybody and welcome to Mr. J's Geek Corner Extra, place where we analyze and discuss extra little factoids and tidbits of anything and everything that is geek, as always, whether it be TV, comics, movies, or video games. And this one was originally going to be a regular Mr. J's Geek Corner episode, but and I've been intending to do this for some time, but I figured I'm going to throw this in here as a Geek Corner Extra. So sit back and enjoy. It's going to be a lot of fun. As y'all know, there are a lot of superheroes that are turning 75 this year. I mean, back in 2013, you had Superman, and you had Batman last year, and Hal. But this year, there are so many more of the pantheon of heroes that are DC's pantheon of heroes that are turning 75 this year. 75. I mean, there are a lot of big name heroes too. I mean, it's just so many. I've actually made a list of all the ones that are turning 75 this year. And a lot of them will surprise you. And a lot of y'all already know this, but all y'all out there that don't know this, you'll be surprised how long these particular characters have been around. There's a lot of them about to make their feature film debut, or already have already made a big splash on television already, and have yet to make it to the big screen. But hopefully they will eventually someday. I hope. But let me start off the list here with the Flash. And they've kind of made the big deal about the Flash a few months ago on his exact 75th birthday. And y'all know Flash, fastest man alive, started back in the day as a character named Jay Garrick. I mean, he looked more, if you remember the Golden Age Flash, which I personally like really, really well, he looked like a lot like the mythical, I don't know if you say Greek or Roman Olympian known as Mercury. He had the Mercury helmet and everything, could run really, really fast, run at supersonic speeds, really fast. Really fast. And after a while, in the Silver Age, they changed him over to a character named Barry Allen. And eventually the mantle was taken up by Wally West, and then temporarily by Bart Allen, and then went back to Wally, and then went back to Barry, who's the current Flash now. And there have been so many Flashes over the years. I mean, there have been like future Flashes, there are kid Flashes, and and over the 75 years, even the powers have changed. The power source has changed a little bit. The Flash basically the original Flash is basically a metahuman. He basically has these abilities naturally, and somehow I don't know the exact origin of Jay Garrick. I know in the New 52, Jay Garrick got his powers straight from Mercury, the messenger. I guess they call him in mythology, the messenger of the gods of Olympus. But that's basically where he got his powers from in that version. That may be where he got them from in the pre-52. I really don't know. But as for the Silver Age, all the way through to now, Barry Allen and all the other speedsters, with the exception of Jay Garrick, draw their power from the Speed Force, which is basically just an energy field. About like the Force. Basically, I'm just they call it the Speed Force. It is like the Force. You basically can do anything with it. You basically can use it to run backwards through time. You can run forwards through time. Although that does have consequences. See Flashpoint. But also there's been like so many other abilities, been able to move like basically at light speed. Basically, I dare say he's faster than Superman. He is faster. I mean, can you imagine Superman with that kind of power? But he wouldn't want that power. But I don't think Superman would want that power really, unless it was just given to him. See previous episode 90. But Superman and unlimited power. But that's that fact. I said he's faster. I said he's the fastest man in the universe, basically, fastest man alive. And like I said, so many others have gone on to possess that power. I said, other than Barry Allen, you have Wally West, you have Bar Allen, who was Impulse, who's basically his relative from the future, from like the 31st century, 30th century, 31st century, whichever one it is. As the timeline progresses, you know. And I said they get and there's like I said, and more than just the Flash gets their power from the Speed Force too. I mean, there's other speedsters out there to get their powers from the Force, from the Speed Force. But I mean, they focus on Flash here. But whether it be Speed Force or not, still the Flash has been around for 75 years. I mean, DC. I'm gonna say it. DC. I'm gonna say. I know I'm repeating myself. Sorry about that. DC personally has not done enough to make a big deal over the Flash turning 75. I think the most I've seen Flash's 75th is a custom logo and like they did for Batman and Superman, and a tribute video. And personally, I think they ought to make a bigger deal of it, and they have. I really think they should have made a bigger deal like they. I mean, they made a big deal of Superman, but not as big a deal as Batman. But I'll get to that later. But still, they ain't made near as big a deal over the Flash turning 75. And as you'll go to see, it's kind of a common theme on this list. So let me just move right along to the next one, who has made his theatrical debut and is looking to make another one, a theatrical re-debut, a theatrical re-debut, possibly in the new Justice League movie and possibly in Batman vs Superman, but that's not official yet. The Green Lantern, and I guess y'all heard all the rumors that he's going to maybe pop up in Flash but not in Arrow. That's what I heard. Possibly in Flash, and he's going to be possibly in Batman vs Superman, and definitely in Justice League, and even in his own film again in the year 2020. But that's a long ways off. But this year he's turning 75, along with the Flash, and it started off with and it all started with the character Alan Scott. And it all started with Alan Scott, and man who basically his power, basically the Green Lantern he had was basically from, I guess it's Earth based, and he had a lantern ring just like the Green Lantern we know today, but his powers were more magical based. It was more magic based and mystically based than what would come later. But if y'all remember what he looked like, he didn't exactly have an all green costume. I mean, the original Green Lantern basically had a red shirt. I'm sitting here looking at the picture right now on my wall of the Geek Corner. He's wearing a red shirt with a yellow and green, with a Green Lantern insignia on a yellow field, on a red shirt. He has green pants, red boots with little yellow straps on them, a purple cape with green inner lining, and a green mask. I think it's either green or purple mask. And that's essentially how the original Green Lantern looks. That's the original Golden Age Green Lantern, Alan Scott. And he, again, I actually like that version a lot, and personally they should do more with him. At my personal opinion, they should do more with him. And as time went on, into the Silver Age, they went on in Silver Age and changed him into, and just like they did with the Flash, changed him into almost a completely different character. In that he's now got a green, black, and white costume. His name is now Hal Jordan. He's now a guy named Hal Jordan, and instead of it being magical based powers, it's now a cosmic. He now has cosmic based abilities, And other than just it's now, and like I said, the lantern power is now cosmically based, and instead of there just being one Green Lantern, there's now millions of Green Lanterns, thousands and millions of Green Lanterns. They're all part of the Green Lantern Corps. And of course, there's been so many other lanterns over the years. There's been Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, John Stewart, Kyle Rayner. There's just been so many others, and even other heroes have become Green Lanterns. It's Superman, Batman. Just so many other characters have become Green Lanterns over the years. And again, he's been around for 75 years. Been patrolling not only Earth but the entire universe in terms of other versions of Lantern. And of course, they had the Green Lantern movie out a few years ago, which I personally think is underrated. I don't know why everybody berates it so bad. I think it's very, very, very underrated. It's a very good movie. There are flaws in it, but it's just very underrated. It's a good movie either way. And of course, DC hasn't really brought up the fact that he is turning 75 this year. They'll probably do that later on in the year, but they really haven't they haven't mentioned it yet. But probably about October, I think, is right around the 75-year point. They'll probably mention it, but still, I don't think it's going to get as much attention as the Batman one has. And that's to me, that's a shame, because Green Lantern is just such a great character. Whether it be the Golden Era or whether it be Alan Scott, Hal Jordan, whoever it is, it's just going to be a shame that they ain't going to get what's due to them, the kind of attention that's due to them, like Batman has. But again, I'll go in more depth there toward the end here. And the next character is someone who, I guess you could say, ain't got that much mainstream attention in terms of like movies and such, but has made a few TV appearances, and that's Hawkman. That's the shirt I'm wearing right now. I'm gonna say Hawkman is an incredibly cool character. I mean, the fact that you have a man who has wings on his back, can fly, has a mace. It's just cool. There's been like two different excuse me, I'll get my words straight. There's been at least a couple different versions of Hawkman over the years. There's been several versions of Hawkman over the years. You have Carter Hall, which is basically, I don't know exactly what the Earth 2 version was like, but like I said, he's different from the version we got in like the Silver Age, in that his name is Qatar Hall, and he comes from the planet Thanagar along with his girlfriend, wife, whichever you want to say it is, Hawk Girl, Shire Hall. Hawk Girl, Shire Hall. But unfortunately, she's not turned 75 this year along with Hawkman. I think she come on along later, but you can be sure whatever other heroes turn 75, she's there. I'm definitely going to cover it. But this time, Carter, or Qatar, basically, he's a warrior from the planet Thanagar, and basically they changed him instead of looking like he's wearing like a wrestling mask or something with a bird on it. He's wearing with a bird on it. He's now got a full-on warrior's helmet with wings and a beak and everything. Kind of looks Batmanish a little bit, but looks incredibly awesome. It's the iconic Hawkman look we know today, with the mace and the mace and just the kind of the He-Man looking breast thing on the thing, a symbol on his chest. Kind of very much like He-Man before He-Man ever came along. It just looks so flipping cool. And I'm gonna say he's not gotten a lot of credit where credit is due. There's been so many versions over the years. It's like part of the character, I guess this version of the character is like he can basically reincarnate, supposedly. Like one time he was in ancient Egypt, he ruled over Egypt and stuff like that. It's just so, like I said, there's just so much convolutedness to the character that I just not going to go into it. But there's been so many different styles of him over the years. Like I said, there's the Earth 2 style, which basically like he's wearing like a luchador mask, and then there's the iconic version everybody knows. Then there's one he looks like a futuristic warrior with fake wings and everything. And then there's the Kingdom Come version, in which he looks like a bird humanoid hybrid. He basically looks like a man bird, a man hawk. And it basically joins the Justice League in Kingdom Come. He looks totally awesome. Wish I could have got a figure of him. But and then there's the of course there's the New 52 version, which doesn't stray too much from the iconic version, just makes him even more warrior-like, which actually he still looks like the classic. I don't know much about the New 52 Hawkman, the way he was and everything. He does look, like I said, he does look like iconic, but as for whether or not he behaves like it, I don't know, because I never read it. But still, Hawkman's a cool character. He showed up in he's been in Super Friends, he's been in like Super Friends, he's been in Justice League Unlimited, he's been in Smallville, in which he looked totally awesome. I mean, the wings could have used some work, but hey. But hey, what are you going to do on a TV budget? And from what I've heard just yesterday, today being August the, let me check my calendar. Yesterday, August the 3rd, they announced that they have got a new Hawkman that is going to be debuting in the not only the Flash and Arrow series, but the current series that's going to debut next year called DC Legends of Tomorrow, which is going to be basically a spinoff of Arrow and Flash. So that's definitely going to be something interesting to see. I don't know who he is. I can't remember his name, nor have I ever heard of him. But hopefully he does the role justice. I hope it's good. I hope he does it justice. But I can guarantee you it is. Again, another character that will not get his due for 75th. I think they brought it up recent. I think they brought it up when it marked the 75th anniversary, but basically it didn't really. It just kind of like poof, and it's gone, and that's just sad, really. And the next characters I'm gonna mention in succession because they're all tied together, along with the other three I've already talked about, and that is Dr. Fate, the Spectre, Hourman, Adam, and Johnny Thunder / Thunderbolt. And that last one I'll go in a little bit more explanation because I barely know anything about it. I'll tell you what I know. Dr. Fate, totally awesome character. He's a very mystical character, can see the future. With the helmet, his power comes from the helmet on his head, the helmet of Naboo. Basically, he ain't changed over the years. I mean, the character's kind of changed over the years a little bit, and the fact that even at one time, Dr. Fate was at one time nothing more than a helmet, an amulet, and a cape, and some gloves. There was no form. That's all he was just the cape, the helmet, and the amulet, and the gloves. That was it. I mean, but essentially over the years, he's not really changed. I mean, it's been he's basically has magical powers. He has magical powers. He can see the future, and a lot of interpretation. He can, part of it being called fate, he can see the future. I mean, and even on Smallville, they definitely emphasize the fact that he can peek into the future. And like I said, he's just a great character. He's been used a lot over the last 15 years, and that he's been on. Well, to tell you the truth, all the way back in the 90s, he guest starred on the Superman animated series, and he's been on Justice League several times. He's been on Young Justice. He's been on, as I said, Smallville, and that he basically tells Clark his future, and that he said he would lead his generation as Hawkman once led his. He said he would lead that generation as Hawkman once led his. And basically it would usher in a new era of heroism. new age of heroism. And basically, I said, Hawkman, I said, Dr. Fate is just an incredible character. To me, definitely needs more screen time. He should have a movie. He should be in a movie. It doesn't matter if he's even in an animated movie of him starring him. He should be in it. He should be in it. He's just that great a character. He should be in Justice League more. He should be a member of the Justice, or should have been a member of the Justice League, but he's been more of a member of the Justice Society. And he was, like I said, part of the first super team, but I'll get to that later. And the Spectre, he's a great character too. Supposed to be basically the Spirit of Vengeance. They always call Ghost Rider over at Marvel Spirit of Vengeance. So is he was around before Ghost Rider ever appeared. And basically he extracted punishment. He was judge, jury, and executioner. More executioner. And more like executioner. He's basically the Spirit of Vengeance. Come from God. And he's been so many different characters. He's been Corrigan, like Jim Corrigan. He's been so many. I think he was a member of Gotham PD. I can't remember his name, but I can't think of it right this second. He's been Hal Jordan. I mean, he's been so many other characters in I mean, he's been a big player in DC all over the years. And about the only few times I've ever seen him make it to the screen is he was in a DC animated short. He was in an episode of Batman Brave and the Bold. And he was in a couple of episodes as Jim Corrigan, and a couple of episodes of the very much underrated, Not Allowed to Flourish series Constantine. And I'm gonna say, I wish he could have showed up during that. The show kept going. You probably would have seen a live action Spectre for the very first time, but you can blame NBC for that. And I'm gonna say it. He definitely needs to show some more love for Spectre than they have, because he's just a great character. And hey, he was created by one, if not both, created by at least one of the creators who brought you the great character that is Superman. I can't remember if it was Jerry Siegel, Joe Shuster, or both. Created him. The ones who created Superman created him. I mean, he's such a great character. He definitely needs to have a big deal done. Just like Fate for 75, been around 75 years. He definitely deserves more attention. And another one, Our Man, a man who basically I know it sounds ridiculous, has superpowers for an hour, but he looks awesome. I mean, the character looks awesome. I think that's what it is. Like, he has super strength for an hour, superpowers for an hour. I can't remember how he is, but like I said, he deserves more respect than he has. I mean, he's been mentioned in at least one DC animated movie, and that's about it. I mean, I think they may have made mention of him in Smallville whenever they showed Clark in Justice Society headquarters, but I'm not really sure about that. But still, he deserves more time. And the character, the Atom, also started out as I think it was Al something. I can't remember. If y'all remember the Golden Age Atom, y'all remember his name? Drop him in the comment box. I can't remember. I think it was Al. Give me a second. It was Al something. Al. But anyway, he was a great character. I know the suit looked a little weird. The suit definitely looked a little weird. I mean, a lot of the original ones looked a little weird. But a lot of the original heroes looked weird. But still, they were cool for their time. I mean, they definitely worked for like the original, like the Golden Age era. Let me see. Al Pratt. Al Pratt was his name. He was the original Adam was Al Pratt, and as I said, like I said, he was more or less could not his power. Let's see his abilities. He said Adam 1,000,000. Basically, he basically was really tough. He could fight. He was just more or less. Let me see if it mentions him here. I don't know what his abilities are. I can't. I'm reading this right directly off the web, but I can't remember. But basically, he basically, I guess I don't know what his powers were, but he was still a great character. And again, member of the Justice Society. And then we move on to Silver Age. The Atom was a man named Ray Palmer, and is a man named Ray Palmer, who can basically shrink down to. Here's his ability to shrink and grow his body and other objects to varying degrees, including the subatomic level, while manipulating his weight and mass to his advantage. But basically, what he's known for, he's able to shrink down really small by like Ant-Man. And of course, he was before Ant-Man, but still, he was. There's been so many other ones afterward, other Atoms afterward, but those are the two main ones that basically brought the name to fame. And I said, he's a good character. They've used him a lot in. They used him in Justice League. He was like a main character in Justice League. He's like a main character in Justice League. The Ray Palmer Atom. I think he was in Super Friends also, and Superpowers. That back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I said he was in Justice League, JLU series, and now he's in the Arrow and Flash shared universe that the CW and DC have been building over. I said basically DC's been building over there on the CW. Like I said, the Arrow Flash universe. Ray Palmer is now the Atom over there, but over there it kind of that version of the Atom kind of reminds me more of Iron Man, to tell you the truth. The way the suit is and everything, basically has jetpacks, gives him super strength, and has onboard weapons. More or less reminds me of Iron Man, but they showed he's supposed to be one of the main characters in DC's Legends of Tomorrow. And basically, they showed in the teaser trailer, he also has the ability to shrink. And like I said, that show looks interesting. That show looks interesting. It looks very interesting how they're going to use him. And I'm guessing that Adam has showed up in other shows also. But still, not enough love for Adam. They should definitely give him more love. And Johnny Thunderbolt, I don't know much about him other than he's a human being that has a Thunderbolt type. But his name's Johnny Thunder. He has this being that's almost like a genie type. It basically looks like a pink energy filled genie looking type thing, and he has like energy powers, I guess. I don't know, but still, he's turning 75 this year also. And as I said, I don't know much about him other than the fact he showed up in Justice Society, but still needs more attention so folks get to know more about him. And all these characters have basically led to the fact that this year is also the 75th anniversary of the first assembling of the Justice Society of America in comics. All of those characters debuted in the same year that all of the characters I just told you about debuted. They teamed up they teamed up and became the Justice Society of America. That was a team that basically it was basically the first ever superhero team. It was the first ever superhero team before Justice League, before the Teen Titans, before the Legion of Superheroes, before the Avengers. There was the Justice Society of America. And it wound up including such characters as Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. But back in the day, it was a little bit different. That Batman and Superman were basically honorary members. I mean, there's been pictures showing Superman with them in battle, and even Batman. But more or less in the books, they just were too busy to be full-fledged members. But you had characters like I think they had their own Black Canary. They had Hawk Girl. Even into the modern day, they've had characters like they've had Mr. Terrific. They've had they've had Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl, Star Girl, Star Man before her. Basically, Star Girl and her dad basically teams up. They call themselves Star and Stripe, and Stripe is essentially a guy in a robot suit. And they've even had Earth 22 Superman, the Kingdom Come Superman, team up with them while he was stuck on that Earth. And I said they've had other versions of like, they've had other characters like Obsidian and let me think. I mean, they just had so many other characters. Let's see if I can look over here, see if I can spot any more. I can't right now. But basically, as I said, those are the main characters that basically form the Justice Society of America. As I said, the original super team before the Justice League was ever made. Basically, if it wasn't for the Justice Society, the Justice League would never would have been made, and so on and so on. I mean, it was before any other super team. They teamed up. And I don't know if they're basically going to get their due or not, which is sad, because the Justice Society should get their due. They should be celebrated 75 years, because, as I said, if it was, I always say, if it wasn't for Superman, there wouldn't be a Batman. If somebody 75 years ago had not created Superman, somebody 1 year later would not have created Batman. And I stand by this. Had it not been for those original characters of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If it hadn't been for that, basically, well, you might as well say at least the first 8 that I mentioned. If it hadn't been for them 8 characters creating the Justice Society of America, you wouldn't have the Justice League of America. You wouldn't have the Teen Titans. You wouldn't have the Legion of Superheroes. You wouldn't have the Avengers at Marvel. You wouldn't have Fantastic Four over at Marvel. You wouldn't have any superhero teams ever if they had not teamed up for the first time. And had it not been for them, you would not have had any more teams. You would not have had the concept superhero team would have been laughable. It would have been a new concept, but it would have been laughable. It was like, why would you want to do that? I mean, it's just awesome. The fact that they were the first superhero team. And personally, they should really think long and hard about doing an animated movie about the Justice Society of America. Because I'd buy it. I would buy it. I personally would buy it because I like the JSA, and I don't think they get enough love. So, in 75 years, they deserve. I mean, the Justice Society appeared probably for the first time live action in Smallville. I mean, they've had a few Justice Society characters show up in like Batman Brave and the Bold, but never to the extent that Smallville did. Smallville had most of the Justice Society. They had the Justice Society. They showed that they basically had gone out of business. And you might as well say had gone out of business because they were shut down by the government. But still, they were still in existence in a way, in that you had Hawkman. You still had Hawkman and Dr. Fate and Stargirl. And she even hints that Stripe exists. But again, they were still looking to recruit and rebuild the Justice Society. I mean, basically, they had their time, but they were shut down because they wouldn't play ball with certain people. And now they were getting ready to show themselves again to the world, and because they know the world needed heroes. And personally, that was one of the best portrayals of the Justice Society I'd ever seen in any media, even comics. I mean, it was just awesome. And personally, they need more love than they get. And I'm going to say it, and as I've put it as hashtags on Google+, remember the Golden Age. Because if it wasn't Golden Age, you wouldn't have comics now. You really wouldn't. But another character that is, but moving on, another character that is turning 75 this year is one of Superman. Is actually one of the biggest heavy hitter supervillains. I don't know how in DC. Lex Luthor. Basically, whenever you think Superman, you think Lex Luthor. You can thank Superman movies for that. But whenever you think Superman villains, that's the first one that everybody always mentions is him. Unless they particularly like Brainiac, which I personally prefer over Lex any day. But it's because of the Superman, Superman 2, Superman 4, and every other media after that. Is why basically whenever you think Superman, somebody's got to mention Lex and a chunk of kryptonite following soon thereafter. But personally, I actually like the more like the portrayal that Clancy Brown did personally in the animated stuff. I mean, I'm gonna say it. Lex is not my favorite character. Not my favorite character at all. He's personally just basically just a first class jerk. You might as well say. But he's the most mainstream villain that he has, exception of now Zod, because he's been in more movies. He's been in more movies than any other Superman villain, second only to Lex Luthor. But Lex has been in so many bits of media over the years, the movies, Super Friends, even the old Superman animated series from the late '60s. The one from the 90s, the one from the 80s, the 80s, the 90s, Justice League, JLU, of course Smallville, Lois and Clark. I don't know if he was in Young Justice or not, but I think he may have been. I know he was in the Batman for at least a couple of episodes. He was in the Batman when Superman guest starred. I mean, he's been, and now he's going to be in Batman vs. Superman. He's making a debut in Batman vs. Superman. But he's been in over 75 years. He's gone under a few changes too. I mean, he's been in so much media over the years. And as I said, when he first started out, he looked very different. And when he started out, he had as an adult, he had a full head of red hair. I mean, a head full of red hair, and then somehow along the way, Luthor became bald, and they never explained why. And then they had the Superboy story in which he became bald and blamed it on Superman, Superboy at the time, and basically swore revenge against him for life because he supposedly ruined his life by messing up his hair. But you find out later that's two different Earths, two different stories, but still, he's been one of the most prominent villains in the Superman pantheon for past 75 years. Even though he didn't debut about the same time Superman did, he debuted after him. And like I said, he was one of the most popular villains. He was even in one of the he was in Adam and one of the Superman serials from the 40s, Adam Man vs. Superman. So that shows you how far back he goes in 75 years. And I think they may have mentioned it. I may have just looked it up, but I don't know if DC's made a big deal about it yet. But I guarantee you they won't make that big a deal about it. They're not as big as the next entry on the list, which I can't believe he's been around 75 years either, the Joker. Which to me is the most overrated villain in DC because they make such a big deal about him. I mean, I'm gonna just go on record and say I like the Jack Nicholson version of the Joker, and I like the Mark Hamill Batman animated series version of the Joker also. But I just can't stand the Joker. He has just been he's been more overused than the Penguin and even Luthor. Because, like, anytime you see Batman, that's the first thing you think of is the Joker. I mean, for crying out loud, he even got his own flipping graphic novel, for crying out loud. I mean, in the same year that Batman, they put out the best of Batman stuff for the 75th anniversary, they put out a Joker one, too. I mean, I can't believe he's around. He's been basically running around killing people for 75 years and still hasn't been brought down yet. I mean, there's been a few instances where Joker has been killed, I guess you could say. Killing joke, Batman killed him, though it was retconned and was not recognized. He was killed in Batman movie. He was killed by Superman in Injustice, which was perfectly justifiable because Batman won't want to do it. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but the fact that Batman has let him live this long is beyond me. I mean, and for right now in the comics, Joker's gone. Joker's presumed dead in the main Batman books. He's presumed dead just like Batman is. So, ain't no telling what's going to happen next. And of course, in the last episode I mentioned where one of the questions Batman asked in the Mobius chair, who is the Joker? I mean, I'm going to say too much big deal has been made over the Joker. I mean, it's right up there with making such a big deal over Batman. I mean, crying out loud. I mean, like I said, I like those two versions of Joker. It's just like with versions of Batman. I like the Nicholson version of the Joker, and I like Mark Hamill's interpretation of the version of the Joker on the animated series, but I could do without every other Joker, and I can especially do without the Heath Ledger interpretation. I don't care how definitive everybody says it is. It's just I'm just so burnt out on seeing that I could just go without it, personally. I really could. But the fact is that he's turning 75 this year. He's been wreaking havoc for 75 years. Now, he's undergone many reimaginings too. The fact in the beginning, all he did was have a smile on his face. He didn't really laugh. He just poisoned people. He just stuck people and basically made them die with a smile on their face. They turned him into a goofy clown type character. And there's Cesar Romero's turn as the Joker, which was actually really good. Is right up there to me with Jack Nicholson and Mark Hamill's Jokers. Right up there with it. I mean, because he did a really good job too. I mean, it's really campy, but still very Joker. And then they turned the Joker back dark again. He was still like a clown prince of crime type thing, but still back to being deadly again. I think it was called Joker's 5-Way Revenge or something like that. I think it was called that. And then the Killing Joke, in which he made things personal by shooting Barbara Gordon and doing what he did, but then about driving her dad insane, and to the point where Batman killed him pretty much, though that was written off. And of course, like I said, over the years, still continuing to wreak havoc, and all the way up to now, all the way up to the point where in New 52 he had his face cut off and he stapled it back on. I mean, I said, and then of course they ain't gonna let him stay dead. You know they ain't. They're gonna bring him back again, of course. And I'm gonna say he's about the only one they've made as big a deal over. They have Batman, but still, the fact that he's been around 75 years, they still ain't gave him as much attention they gave Batman. Or the next one on the list is Batman's very own sidekick, Robin. And when I found out Robin was turning 75 this year, I couldn't even believe it. I couldn't even believe that Robin had been around that long. And of course, Robin's gone through many changes over the years. Folks taking up the costume, like Dick Grayson basically retired as Robin, and basically retired being Robin and started being Nightwing. And Jason Todd was, of course, killed in action, and of course came back later as Red Hood. And Tim Drake took up the mantle and changed the costume to something a little bit better looking. Then Stephanie Brown, the Spoiler, took up being Robin, and before he took back up the mantle later. Or Tim did. Then Damian Wayne, son of Batman Talia al Ghul, took up being Robin. Then you had in Dark Knight Returns, you had Carrie Kelly as Robin. Probably the first girl Robin before Stephanie Brown. And I'm gonna say, I said Robin has just gone. I mean, I'm gonna say Robin to me is, you love him or hate him, he's still a part of the Batman universe. And I'm not that big a Robin fan really. I'm more of a fan of Tim Drake, the Red Robin. I'm more a fan of the character, the Red Robin, than I am just straight out Robin. But that's the show for another day. But the fact that Robin has endured this long when I'm completely getting rid of the character, that shows you something right there. Yeah, just how popular they made him. I mean, he's been in the animated series in the 60s. He's been in the old Adam West Batman series in the 60s. He was in Batman animated series from the 90s. He was in the Joel Schumacher Batman movies. Nobody really wants to remember that. And for over the years, they've been trying their best. They even tried to introduce him in the original Tim Burton Batman movie, but they cut that scene out. It was just animatics. It was planned out. They were going to do it, but they cut that scene, and they said he didn't want it. And he didn't. He basically they wanted to put Robin in, but they cut him out, and they changed their minds. And they constantly tried to put it in rumors that he was going to pop up in the Dark Knight trilogy, and of course he kind of did, but he kind of didn't. I mean, in the end, the guy that Joseph Gordon-Levitt played, his original first name was Robin. And he wound up becoming Bruce Wayne's successor to the Batmantle in the Dark Knight trilogy. But the fact that he's endured this much over the years, they're even going to be hinting that there's a Robin in Batman vs Superman, or there was a Robin, because of the fact you see a suit that said "The joke's on you, Batman" on it in the trailer, and it shows the fact whose Robin suit is that? Is that Jason Todd? Who is it? But it's just, like I say, it's just interesting to see that the character that has been kind of maligned over the years, and even beloved over the years by some folks, it's just been around so long, and it's just so much a part of pop culture, just like a lot of the other ones are. And like I said, but still, and they've even given him his own little tribute video on DC All Access also. But the fact remains that all of these characters here that I've read for the past 47 minutes, according to my timer up here, the fact remains that these characters will not get anywhere nearly as much attention for their 75th anniversaries as Batman did last year. Even Superman didn't get a proper amount of attention, in my opinion. Superman got the only way attention they gave to him is they had a tribute video to him that was made by Zack Snyder. They had Man of Steel, and they had a few little things to go along with Man of Steel. It's like that's all the 75th they got for Superman. But when it came time for Batman's 75th last year, from the time it hit May, they didn't shut up about it. It was everywhere. Even at Target, they had displays devoted to 75 years of Batman. They didn't even do that for Superman. That's just sad. Every year, all you kept hearing was Batman, 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 Batman. All you kept hearing was nothing but Batman's 75th. They were constantly keeping reminding you. Even the day before, I did a Geek Corner minute on this. Matter of fact, the very first, to kind of to kind of vent, really. They did that. They did right just before Comic-Con last year. They did a Batman Day. They did a Batman Day celebrating 75 years, where you get free stuff, free Bat stuff, and a lot. And I think at local Barnes and Noble stores. It's like a pre-Comic-Con thing. I mean, and that was across the country too. And then at Comic-Con, it was even more of a big deal about it. And the fact they had this contest thing where basically folks could paint up their own custom cape and cowl and all this other Batman-related stuff to have on display. I mean, they had some stuff like with Superman, but nowhere near the scale they had for Batman. As a matter of fact, everything was so Batmania last year that there was one character that was a member of the Justice Society that turned 75 last year. Sandman. I can't remember. I know his last name was like Dobbs. Anybody help me knows the name? Please drop it in the comment box. But the fact that he was actually overlooked for his 75th anniversary because of Batman. And I'm going to say, even the Joker didn't get that much attention, but he still got his own book like Batman did. Like the best stories ever. And that's just sad. There's so many great characters I've listed here today. And none of them will ever get as much of attention. And that's just 75 years, just like Batman and Superman. Or Superman Batman. But none of them ever got getting as much attention as Batman did last year. And that's just sad. It's just sad. DC got all these great characters turning 75, and all they ever want to do is focus on a man with pointy ears. A man dressed up as a bat. To quote Jack Nicholson's Joker in the first Batman movie, what kind of a world we live in when a man dressed up as a bat takes all of that press? And to finish that quote, this town needs an enema. DC Comics needs an enema. Because these characters deserve way more respect, and there's a lot of them getting the respect that they deserve. They're getting TV time and stuff. They're getting the attention they deserve. But they need more. They really need more. I would love to see a Justice Society movie. I would love to see a lot of them, the Spectre, Dr. Fate, Hawkman. I'd love to see them all get more attention than they've gotten over the years. And I'm gonna say, and again I say, remember the golden age. Remember the golden age. So, again, a toast to 75 years of some of DC's greatest heroes and villains. I wouldn't necessarily call Luthor and Joker great, in my opinion, but still, here's to 75 more years, hopefully, of these great characters that I've mentioned here today. Well, what do y'all think? Am I making too big a deal out of it? What do y'all? Which one of these characters are your favorites? And also, would you love to see a Justice Society of America live action or animated film or TV show in the future? Let me know. As always, put your comments in the comment box. I would love to hear what y'all have to say on this subject. And if y'all love the golden age of DC, put the hashtag in the comment box. Remember the golden age. I would love to see how many remember the golden ages end up in the comment box. I would love to hear that. And I guess that's all for this Geek Corner Extra, Mr. J's Geek Corner Extra. And as always, if you have any comments about this or any other Geek Corner program, drop a comment in the comment box. I'd love to hear from you. Like, subscribe, share with all your friends, tell all your friends. If you have any ideas about a future Geek Corner Extra or Geek Corner Minute, drop a comment, drop them in the comment box. I'm always looking for fresh new subjects and topics to discuss and analyze. So definitely drop your ideas in the comment box. You never know when they may end up a Geek Corner Extra or a Mr. J's Geek Corner. So definitely drop a comment in the comment box. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear your ideas. And I'll see y'all next time.